Greetings. I have a book that I've been needing to finish up that's been sitting. Greetings. I have a book that I've been needing to finish up that's been sitting on my desk since New Year's Eve. Laura Denison at Following the Paper Trail had a New Year's Eve party, and this was the pattern that she went over on New Year's Eve that she did as part of that party. And I started it, and I got the base book finished, and then I just sort of ran out of steam with it. I couldn't... Usually when I go to make a book, I start by gathering everything together, including all of the embellishments that I would use, and I basically put together a kit, and then I do the mini. But with this one, I just had the base book stuff, and I didn't have all the embellishments together. So once I got the base book done, I just got stuck, and I had to go gather up some things that I could use for embellishments and kind of make decisions about it. And I'm still not completely sure that I would say 100% finished, but it's finished enough that it's going to go off my table and I'm not going to worry about it for a while. So with this book, what I started with was wanting to work with this paper by GCD Studios called Debonair. I had got it, I think, at Big Lots for $5, and it has a very Eastern travel theme with lots of beautiful, colorful paisley and patterns, and it seems to intermix the patterns of various cultures, mostly Eastern cultures, but lots of cultures. And I just loved it. It was masculine, and so often masculine things don't get made because we fall in love with flowery paper or something. And I'm certainly one of those people who, you know, I've got Mariposa, and I've got just tons of stuff like that. And when I saw this, I thought, I really need that. It speaks to me. So we don't do a lot of traveling in our family, and certainly not to exotic places. We have special needs kids, and it's just not in the cards for us. So I thought the theme for this would be travel your own path, and then it could be just about anything that was about traveling or about yourself and finding yourself. And the cover, I used this paper that is the base of this book is a club scrap paper that feels like flower petals. It's so wonderful, and I've saved it forever because I didn't want to put it behind plastic. I wanted it to be something you could touch, and when I got into mini books, I thought, oh, now I can start using this. And so I covered it with that, and you can really feel it on the back. It's neat. And then Laura had done an asymmetrical binding, but I just went symmetrical because I had this sort of faux leather snakeskin stuff strapping that I wanted to use, and I used that to cover up the binding. And then on the front, I edged it with gold paint all throughout. I've used this gold paint to edge it, and I kind of like the way that looks. And then I used, they had this map paper in the collection, and I used that behind, and I sprayed it with my homemade glimmer mist to give it kind of an aged look. And these letters are painted with the gold paint and then topped with the crackle accents, and then I rubbed ink in the cracks when it dried. And then I typed this up and printed it on my printer, and I did the same thing, crackle accents, and then rubbed, let's see if you can see that. I rubbed ink into the cracks to give it an aged look. This is one of my crocheted flowers that I put a button in the middle of and tied it on, and then I cut these out of the pattern paper and added some bling. And this I cut out of the pattern paper and covered with glossy accents. And this is something, I made these flowers here this last week. I'd been going through the store, and I had seen these ones from Prima where they were like, I think there's some fabric or canvas in the Prima ones, but they were basically painted with maybe Lumiere or something thick, and it looked like Pearl Ex paint. And then it was edged with a thick, not glitter, but they use like a thick dimensional gold paint. But anyway, I came home and used that as my inspiration. I cut the flowers out of my silhouette and I painted them with my homemade twinkling H2Os, and then I used the gloss, or I used the stickles around the very edges. And I had made these flowers, these brown ones, and then I had made this little flower out of the pattern paper, and I just layered them up, put on some feathers and some punch flowers with, you know, bling. This was such a find. I saw it at Hobby Lobby, and it was on 50% off, and I think it was maybe $1, but it just was so perfect for this album that I had to get it because it's the right color, it's the right theme, it's right in every way, and so I just loved having this charm on here. So then the way this album works, you open it up, and I used the rest of the map paper here, and it's got a beautiful compass here. I love these Mariner's Compass. They remind me of the Mariner's Compass in quilting, and I have a pattern for that. It's a challenging quilt pattern. And then the collection came with acetate, so I went ahead and put part of the acetate sheet in there. And then the way the book pages work, they're two-sided, and on this side you have a slot for tags, and so I have this tag, and I just stamped on the back. And this paper here is a club scrap paper that has a paisley texture, and it comes in this sort of color that actually just perfectly matches this collection so well, and I was really excited to use it because it's not a color that blends itself to many projects, but the texture's so luscious. And I just took my Tim Holtz, I think it was Vintage Photo, and rubbed it across to bring out the texture. So this is just regular cardstock with a texture on it that I've inked, and I put gold around the outside, and then of course I stamped on the back for journaling. So that's photomat journaling. And then you turn the page like this, and there's a long pocket, and I've gone ahead and put ribbon in the long pocket, and in this case I put some stamping on I left these mostly plain. I stamped a butterfly there, and that goes in here. And then there's a pocket here, and in this case I just put some pattern paper on it, inked around it. And then this flap lifts up. This is something that I cut out on my silhouette. It's very, very fine. The silhouette, the nice thing about the silhouette, it can cut out very fine things. The bad thing is it can only cut not very thick cardstock. Once you get to Stampin' Up! Paper, you've got to double cut and go cut really slow, and then sometimes it doesn't cut all the way through. So anything about 90 pound or more is just kind of at its limit. But if you use really inexpensive cardstock, it cuts such fine detail that it's just really kind of amazing. So so I've gone ahead and taken that little border strip that I cut out on my silhouette, and I used a special embossing powder by Judikins called Rustic Tin Can, and it's really a cool emboss. I love this. You get a lot. I mean, it was not cheap. It was $6, but my God, that's going to last me like forever. And actually, I like that you get a lot of it, because this is something that you would cover a whole huge large object with, because it's got that rusty tin can look, and it can really make it. So for the amount you get in the tub, it's a lot. You know, it's not that expensive, but I really love it. So I've used it quite a bit, actually. So I covered that with that, and it's neat. It's got white and copper and gray and black, and it's a neat mix. And then, of course, just flowers throughout that I've made with punches. And then you open it up like this, and there's a photo mat, and there's a tag with a little pocket, and I've stamped on the tag. Pretty simple. It's definitely not heavily embellished. A little bit of ribbon here, punch flowers, tags. Here the back has just a journaling thing, and you come around, and it's pretty much the same. So, in some places I had run out of that that paper border, so I just, here this is just some fuzzy rickrack and a tag. I think I just stamped a little border on the back there, and it comes up, and a tag. Mostly Club Scrap stamps in here, as far as the stamping. Just a little border along there, journaling, and a tag. Some Club Scrap stamps on it. This comes up, another one of those little paper borders I made with the rustic tin can. Really simple little stamping here. Paper is very busy, so I didn't really want to go to town embellishing it because I felt like that could be a bit much. This didn't fall back down. There. So a lot of it is just the paper. See? And room for journaling. But it's definitely an album that you could put a lot of boy pictures in, man pictures, husband pictures. So it's not super girly. I even hesitated to put the flowers in, but I kept them fairly simple, I think. How can you make an album without flowers, really? They are the quintessential embellishment as far as I'm concerned. A little bit of stamping. A little bit of pattern paper there at the bottom. So some of these long tags got more embellishment than others, but I kept it pretty simple in here. It's a pretty, the book itself, it's kind of a neat format with this really tall, I think this is a 6x9 in shape, something like that. It's really kind of a neat format, has a neat feel to it. Just lots of spots for journaling and pictures. This one has a little tree on it. Lots of different fibers and ribbons in here that are, but I just pulled out my box and I just started grabbing pieces that I thought would look cute. As far as the ribbons and fibers. And we're almost done here. I made these these sort of stamp edged shapes with my silhouette and just stamped on them. Edged them in gold. Lots of gold edging in here. The back here, just a piece of pattern paper and a journaling spot and a flower and a couple more tags. A little bit of, this is seam binding that I got at the thrift store. And ribbon I got at Big Lots, I think. I got that at Big Lots. And one last tag. I cut out one of the paisleys and stuck it there. I love this. This is what made me fall in love with it. It's just so like Indian Mendi art. That's why I bought this collection, because it made me think of Indian hand painting, and I love that. Well, there it is. That's all there is to this album. It's just mostly the pattern paper, but I love the way it feels, and I love this, and I love this flower. This was fun. Love this flower. I don't know. It's kind of cool. It's more my style, that's for sure. Okay, thank you for watching. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.